stuck like glue. Stuck like glue. In this whole thing. Rather intimidation. Last words on it. Not really. Everything's going to be brought up thousands of times over, but let's think about it for a minute. Because basically it's about the rules of the world. And that when thinking as someone is inferior, it also makes you look strong when you're really scared. So somebody who's intimidating you is so scared. And I'm not talking about the intimidation, as I said before, about, pulling yourself forward and understanding your life. No, the intimidation where you're scared, where you don't know what to do. So you intimidate somebody because it's easier. You're so scared, you have to intimidate them. You have to intimidate them because you're so scared. What are you scared of? You're scared of letting go of the past? You're scared of what your parents will say? You're scared of what anybody in your life that has made you compromise your decisions before will say? But they made you compromise those decisions. Are you going to let people keep compromising your positions in life? What you want? Your catalog has gotten larger because you chose your vote. You made your votes on what your parents... I vote like my parents. I don't vote like my parents, thank you very much. And my mom doesn't even vote like my grandma. Thank her very much. My attitude is present. As the emotions, feelings, and sensitivities are in one direction, so is my heart and my mind. Oh, you can't think that way. You gotta have some understanding with other people. No, we have to be individuals. The wheel won't work if we're not all individuals in this life. If we want to work together, we have to understand ourselves as individuals and accept ourselves as individuals, even together, as a collective. We don't work together if we can't be ourselves. So you're intimidation because you're scared. Because it's not only thinking as someone is inferior, but the fact that they're not scared. That's the problem. You're so intimidated when somebody else isn't scared. When they're not scared of something new. Oh, why isn't this guy scared? That means he doesn't love me. That means she doesn't love me. Because they're not scared like I am. So someone has to have the exact same feelings as you're having when it's happening. To make you feel like they're the right person for you. Is that right? Or are you jumping to conclusions again? Because it's easier to jump to conclusions. Or are you going to go to your friend right after and say, you know what do you think about this? Well, I don't know that person much, but this is everything I'm going to tell you about what I feel about him or her. Here we go. Down the line again. The good part is I never compromised the friendship based on what my friend thought of my other friend. Because I have to make that decision, not another person. Thankfully, I always have. Any friendships that went bad? Hey, the friend didn't want to be a long-term friend. Oh, well, if you don't want to be a long-term friend, I mean, why? I understand we all learn from every experience and everything we have, but if someone's trying to make that decision to make the relationship or friendship move on longer, whose failure is it if the other person doesn't want to, not comply, but want to keep going? It's not really a failure of a relationship, it's that the other person doesn't want to keep going in the relationship, doesn't want a long term. Totally understandable. But it's not me. But I could blame myself for wanting a long-term relationship. I'm sorry, I'm very sorry if I actually want something long-term and not to be scared of something. I apologize. I apologize to the nth degree, and I'm not joking around there. I do apologize. But it's hard to apologize when it's your character. Not what somebody else is thinking of you, and what they say to that other friend about you. Or what they say to the other person who you care about. I mean, there's nothing I can say to that. Then it's like, well, this is what I think of that person. Oh, well, clearly you're believing them more than me, and that's fine. You've known them longer. Usually the person that knows you longer is the person that gets you. Sadly, I'm sitting here on the lone scope of this Pink Cloud Radio and saying that, because I can only say that with true honesty. Because a lot of people think that, well, I know this person longer, they'll stay with me. Don't worry. Sometimes people coddle that too much, though. Like, they hold on to it too much, and that's when they don't have it. Because they're basically trying to line up a sight and say, this is it, and it's not it. Because they just want something to work out in a compromised position, rather than letting it work out on its own. Different story. And just like sexual orientation choices. And, changes. Sexual orientation choices and changes. Which, being a favor to someone else sometimes. Which some people think so too. Because of, not being able to take that step back and, give in on saying you made a mistake, you know, because me personally, I don't care if you say like, well, I'm not a saint, but I'm not evil. No, I'm both. I'm both a saint and evil. I'm both good and evil. You're going to learn the good and evil from me, because I am both. I'm 50% of each, maybe more percent evil, I don't know. Maybe more percent of both. I'm a halo with blood on it, you know. I love being both, because that's the whole point of life. If you don't experience both and accept yourself as both, I mean, you got nothing to live for. You know, I don't like the choices that Satan and God give you, because you have to pray to one and you have to give your soul to the other. Fuck that. I'll keep my soul, and I'm not going to pray to somebody else to save me, because that'll be at the end of my life. You know, and Satan, well, you've had your fun. Have your own life over there, you know. I would rather detach myself from both, because I want more decisions than just two. There's not only two straight lines, there's a million, and I'm about to go down a different one. I'm not going to go down the two that are, well, this is the given choice to you. No, the given choice to me is what I decide, not what you decide. Who are you? You going to be in my life forever? You know, just like those people who are God, not God crazy. I would say the people that tell you this is the kind of job you should get, and have that entitled view of like, oh, well, you know, you should go apply at this job. You know, and that kind of entitled view, and get aggressive about it too, like, oh, you got to do this. Are you going to be with me every step of the way? Or are you just telling me what to do? Because, I mean, and people will tell you, get this kind of car insurance. No, I'm not talking about like car insurance salesmen. I'm talking about the actual friends that you know. Or somebody that you just met in a classroom that said, oh, you should get this car insurance because it's cheap. You should do it this way. Well, I'm not going to do it your way just because you tell me on this one day when we first met in this first class. Kiss it up your ass. Kiss your own ass behind that shit. You're not going to teach me a lesson one time. I don't compromise with one time. Now, that doesn't mean I don't accept you as a person, but if you come on aggressively because of your intimidation based on your experiences before, then your intimidation based on what you ignore about me right now is a problem. Because I don't ignore anything about you. When I point my finger at you, it's not going to come right away when I meet you. It's going to come right when you do something to teach you something. Bye. Because you don't need to be a friend of mine if you're going to point the finger at me right when you meet me. That's why it doesn't work out when somebody says, you're my fate, Marcello. You're going to point the finger at me right when you meet me? I'm sorry. You can't do that. You can't be obsessed. You can't be a man whore or a woman whore or whatever whore. You can't be a prostitute about it. I'm not being a prostitute about myself. I put myself out there, but that's my personality, my character. Not my reputation. What everybody else thinks about me, well, have a good life with that. You know, have a good, you know, as I said, make your own heaven and hell of that, because that's the kind of roads you like, the two-sided roads, one way or the other way. I like more than that. I like choices, more than just two. I'm not talking about, oh, well, that means he doesn't want to be with one girl. No, I do. But I don't want her to say, this is the only road you got, Marcello. You got to go this way or this way with me. No. That means we're either going to have arguments all the time or we're not. No. We're going to have arguments, but we're going to have arguments where there's solutions involved. Not with our egos. We're going to actually come up with solutions if we have any arguments, so we don't have as many. And hopefully, we won't have any. We'll actually talk with each other instead of having arguments and say, you know what, let me hear what you have to say. Let me hear your feelings. Because my passion comes out. And it's not a roadblock. A lot of people say it's a roadblock because, oh man, you're letting your passion out there. Yeah, but it'll work with the right person who wants to see that kind of passion. And not just kind of deteriorate and make their own laws. Our laws are our passions. That's all it ever was. That's why so many people are arguing, because they don't go with their passions. Why do you think there's so much divorce? Divorce is just the halt line to most people, because it's like, halt here, and then they don't get married anymore, they change sexual orientation, they make all these changes for a favor for themselves or for somebody else, or for the man. I don't want to be with men because I know how I'd mistreat them. I don't want to be with women because I know how I'd mistreat them. Give that halt line, you know, because you don't want to accept the experience of what you really want in life. So instead, you just say, I'm going to lose that edge. I mean, I understand it to a certain extent. Because if you always are going to go down the same line when you're with a different man or a different woman that honestly is a different person and treats you differently, and you still can't see that or accept it, then I kind of understand, but it's also your wall that's built up so high that your expectations for that other person are just unanimously going to make you lose that person. Because expectations, like I said, either you draw the line and make your expectations for yourself going to change, not about somebody else going to change. Because you shouldn't have the expectations for somebody else to change. Your expectations are only about you. The other person is not you. And I hope you're not looking for somebody to be you. Hey, I'm looking for a clone. Just look in the mirror. Buy a mirror. You don't need to be with somebody else. Just buy a mirror. You know, I'm not looking for somebody to be a clone of me. I'm looking for somebody to accept the kind of person I am, but that's different. It isn't about learning to love, really. It's about seeing that kind of person and seeing the passion and wanting that kind of passion in the relationship. That's a different story. And there are a lot of people out there that are like that, who have that kind of passion. Now, I'm going to say specifically my own, but their own passions. The kind of ones that knock down a door. And that's the whole point of this. The experience isn't about, you know, oh, well, you know, you just want somebody that's like you, that listens to you. Oh my God. So many people gangplank everything and just say, oh, well, you just want somebody that listens to you. No, I don't. I want somebody that listens to themselves. Honestly, truly with their heart. With their mind. You know, not somebody who just scapegoats everything based on what they've had before. Take your experiences, but don't maneuver them into every relationship that you're in. I never have. And never try to scapegoat a relationship based on your experiences, because if you do, you're taking your experience and saying, well, that's it. You've made your fault and that's it. I'm not gonna encourage you anymore to be in this relationship. Wow. And when if I discourage you from this relationship because of who I am, then it's better that it ended. Because, and I think that's the same thing with anybody. If you feel like the other person is discouraged by who you are, or you're being discouraged for the kind of person you are, obviously it's not a right relationship for you. You need to be with somebody that encourages, not through admiration, but encourages the kind of person you are to be in that kind of relationship. Don't matter if you're living with your parents, not living with your parents, you're a prostitute, you're not a prostitute. I mean, I'm going to bring it up again. If you have to look at those lines and base them off of that only, then whose fault is that? You know, the person that's living at home, whether it's the guy or the girl, or both even, with their parents. If you're discouraging somebody because they are, you know, it's like me being flatlined and saying, well, you're going to live with your parents forever. Do you really think I have that kind of hostile personality to say, well, I'm defending my parents, that's all. They could defend themselves if they want to. That's why I never defended my grandma when she was getting pissed off at my brother, back when it first started between him and Danielle, his fiancée. I would have been on her side if that's the case, and I wasn't. She hates me for that. She now thinks I'm listening to John Pierre, I'm not thinking my own way. Goddamn wrong. This is the entitlement of a lifetime. To be with somebody that doesn't feel discouraged because of anybody that hurts him in his own personal family. Because the people that can hurt you the most are usually your family. Because they know every little irksome thing that bothers you. But they don't actually listen either. If you actually want, I mean, I'm going to say it. I listen to what you say. Well, listening to what I say, I'm not telling you to listen to it like a rule. I'm telling you to listen to it and understand it. There's a big difference. And that's what I would say to my grandma. But it seems to skip by like a, you know, like a rock across a puddle, you know, across water or something. It goes down after a little bit, you know. It doesn't stay up on top, you know, clearly. You know, water doesn't make rocks float. A rock will go right to the bottom. And that's what happens when you bring a voice up to my grandmother, of course. No put-downs. I'm not putting her down by saying that. That's her personality. That's her character. But it discourages anybody. But if it discourages anybody, remember, if I encourage you, that's what matters. If everybody around me is trying to perversely intact everything about what you are to me, it doesn't affect me. It doesn't mean I'm stronger or weaker. Oh, this guy's strong. He'll find the right girl. He'll find the right person for him. Yeah, but if you don't want to be that right person, how many more people will say that? Because I'm pretty sure you're not the only one that said that. Just saying. Just saying, you know, and that's what the intimidation and the sexual orientation changes and choices sometimes are. They're based on this kind of like epiphany of like, I need to get rid of this, I need to dislodge this from my life. Well, how about getting rid of what your experience is? Because it's not going to go when you change your orientation. When you make a choice to change your orientation sexually or intimidate people because you're scared and they're not. it's not going to go along with, it's going to go along with you in that whole hyperbarium of life. It's going to follow you. And not in the right way. It's going to follow you like a shadow. And it's going to kill you eventually. It's going to be the suicide bridge. Even if you don't commit suicide, it's still the suicide bridge that you're leaving a desolate charm in your atmosphere character because you don't want to deal with it. Don't hide your desolation in that experience. Experience it and withdraw the elements that don't need to be there. Because it's not going to go when your orientation goes, or when your intimidation flows into every relationship. I'm going to cripple this person. Decide to make the crippling the joy. Don't decide to make the joy the experience where you entangle them into the web of what you've experienced. Because a lot of people can't experience what you experienced. Sadly, you have to accept that. And it doesn't make it a bad thing. You know, too many people try to say, well, I've been raped before, and you're not going to understand that. Well, is that the point? Is that the point of us being in a relationship, or is that the point of this or that the other? Of me being your friend, of me being this or that? If it's that alone that's going to make you want to be my friend, or make you stay a friendship, or make us stay in a relationship, then we shouldn't be friends, because you're taking your own experience and trying to say that that's going to be the fault line if it doesn't work out. But I'm not the one who raped you. I'm not the one who hurt you. I'm not the one who abused you, who slapped you across the face, who pushed you down on the ground, who punched you in the face, who left bruises on you. And that's what you're not trying to decide there. You're trying to decide that I'm just the same thing. That's the only way you can intake me, is to create an image of me that's the exact one that you have at home, or is the exact one you have in your relationship, or the exact one you have with your friends. And I'm not like any of your friends. Neither are you. You're not like any of my friends. You never will be. And that's not to put you down. In fact, that's to raise the crowd up and realize that we're everybody rising together. We're not mysterious. We're just different. And that's the whole reason for this competitive nature. When it comes down to it, that's what it is. It's a competitive nature. What we try to filter through our lives forever is this competitive nature between each other. Yet, the idea isn't to be friendly about it. To say that we all should experience different things. We're being jealousy into it. We're being problems that we don't need to create. We create the kill the competition in the US. If one person is not competitive, it means all don't have to be. And have abilities not to be. So, if, like for example, me, I'm not being competitive with anybody else or trying to win somebody over. Or trying to win, even at work, I'm not trying to win anybody over. Or same thing with relationships, or same thing with a girl that I like, or same thing with anybody that I'm trying to get with. I'm not going to try to be competitive, because to me, the only way you can be competitive, in their minds, is the same one they've seen throughout the years. It's kill the competition. Even though we're supposed to say this is a prosperous economy where everybody can make their own businesses. If that's the case, then why would we have to kill the competition or buy up competition? Now, if somebody wants to sell theirs, sell their stock to a different company, that's different. But if somebody's just buying up the shots and trying to create a big conglomeration all in one, that's not showing that's showing kill the competition. That's saying, no, we're going to have only one brand and you're going to come right to it. Fuck you. I'm going to create a different brand and it's going to be up your ass. So, the idea of this competition, being competitive, you know, kill the competition. Yeah, that's it. It's so funny. We want to destroy gangs. We want to stop the gang wars. We want to stop the drug war. We want to stop the drugs. We want to stop the gangs in the streets. Yet, we have gangs and lackeys destroying every single business, and we don't do nothing about it. We have people homeless on the side when we got more homes than any homeless could ever live in. If you put all the homeless in homes, there would still be a ton of homes left. A ton. Which means that there's something wrong here. And it ain't in the gangs on the streets. It ain't in the drugs that are handed out in the streets. It's in the people in charge. It's in the people that own this land way before they started renting it out to us. Because we don't own what we have. Especially if there's cities states, those states ain't just created throughout a mutual contract between us and the people who own the states, the people who own the country. In that effect, we're just commodities based on what they decided to put in our psychology to predate us and to make us think that we actually own the set of stairs we live on, the set of concrete, the set of rigid tires and everything else that we drive in. We have as much luck to have that stuff as as the idea of saying it's just a privilege to drive. No, it's not. It's a right. If it's not a right, then this ain't America. This ain't a democracy. This ain't the republic that we grew up in. If it's just a privilege, then I don't want any privileges. I want a right. I don't want to be based off of what somebody else made a mistake of. It doesn't matter how many people made those mistakes. It has to be individual. Just like the healthcare system. If it needs to be fixed, individually fix it. Don't just conglomerize it and say everybody has to do it. You have no choice. I have a choice of kicking your ass. And you're not going to like that one. So, when you decide to make your own fate, and decide to throw me in the gutter because, well, Marcello's thinking too superficially, he can't just intimidate us. I'm not trying to intimidate you. I'm trying to tell you. If I was trying to intimidate you, I wouldn't be doing it on Pink Cloud Radio. I'd be doing it to your face. Giving you an idea of what the launch pad is. Not just decide to have fun. Because that's what I do. Have fun. And decide to kill you with my own thoughts. Nothing else. Not decidedly. Not psychologically, supernaturally. No. Right here in the world. We're living in it. Deciding to make PCR as debatable as your own neighbors. When they have parties and it's too loud. When you rent out an apartment and the neighbors, man, they always drop stuff on the floor. It's like they're throwing bowling balls on the floor upstairs or something like that. Decide against it. Because the nature of thought that, clones religion to nature. A natural defense is different now for a human versus nature itself. That's why, when you're controlling the philosophy and how to take away judgment of emotions, feelings, and sensitivities. Right away the nature of thought, that religion to nature. Think about it. A natural defense is different now for a human. So, when someone thinks of their natural defenses, they don't think of their instincts. They think of what they've been taught. They think of what they've been taught in the religious schools. They think of what they've been taught in school. Versus what nature does itself. We're all, oh no, you can't be like an animal. But that's our instincts. We have the same senses as animals, even more so. And we have a different psychology than animals. But we still are animals. In fact, we're worse than animals because we could shoot a gun at each other. I never seen two dogs kill each other with guns. When two dogs fight, if one loses and is on the ground, it puts its neck up to show that you've won. You may now kill me. You ever see a human do that? No, I haven't. I've seen humans give up. But I've seen the other humans stomp them down. Kelly Thomas comes to mind from last year. But to my psychology and to what I saw from it, those 4 police officers, they were just bullied before in their lives. And they went into this job never thinking they would use revenge in their life. And here they are doing it. So to me, that kind of proves that those 4 police officers and anybody else who's done so went for revenge. As I've heard some other people that have done so in my own lifetime. One guy at my college, Cal State Long Beach, he said he's going into banking because he was cheated. And he wants to cheat people. So I mean, literally one of the best reasons for anybody to do anything. People tell me people take the easy way out. It's not true. If people took the easy way out, they wouldn't take the time to go for revenge. There would be no such thing as revenge if people took the easy way out. Revenge is not that easy. To give up on your own passion for revenge. Let's see how easy that is. I don't think people take the easy way out. I think too many people think that's the easy psychology. Psychosis of thought is to say, well, people are going to just give up on their natural passions for something else. But a lot of people give up on their passions for so much. So if people take the easy way out, it's that they give up on their passions. It's not anything else. They don't give up on anything else. They destroy the nuclear thought of what they really think of themselves, so they don't have to feel sorry about what they do. But at the end of the day, they're still doing it. Doesn't matter if they get rid of what they think of it. They're still going to have to think about it when they do it, after they do it, before they do it. So no matter how much you try to psychologically drain yourself of what you're going to do to somebody, whether it's revenge or bullying, or what happened with Kelly Thomas last year, you're going to still do it. And you're going to live with that for the rest of your life. No one else is. Obviously, look at everybody that happened with the Kelly Thomas thing. Nobody stopped them. But to be honest, they were bred that way. Those four were bred to do their revenge. The fact is, they have that on the record now. They did that. Whether they're arrested for it or put away for years, whether they're not, the point is that happened. And it didn't kill him. Which means revenge, and the sweet revenge, as people say, revenge on bullying that happened to them years ago, that's why a lot of people get in those positions of power, to be police officers, because they can hold the crowd down and do whatever they want, because they know the rules, they know the laws, they know how to loophole things, and they know how to make it sound like, well, I was protecting people, or that protester did something wrong when they didn't at all. Or you have infiltrators even, which infiltrators have been inside of crowds for years, at protests and everything. Ever since good old, well, you could look back at the history of infiltrators, because there's been a ton of them that our own government has sent out. You know, to me, I don't think our government is less filthy than any others. That's why I wouldn't say, my government doesn't stand for me. You know, and it never has. I mean, how can it? It's been around way before I have. It created the concepts of our country way before I was born. So to say I have individual rights would actually have to stand the test of time based on the concepts that protect me. I haven't seen them. Just because I'm alive right now, not bruised, doesn't change that. If you are trying to psychologically manipulate me, it doesn't actually mean too much that those concepts and ideas are still there. If you're trying to bruise that, that kind of means those concepts aren't as... those concepts, what's written in the Constitution, what's written in the Bill of Rights, is not that important if you're trying to psychologically abuse me and manipulate my emotions and feelings and sensitivities. They're going to be as strong as ever when I'm dead, just as long as they are now. Which means you can try all you want, but you better have more fun with somebody else before you try to step the line. This isn't about, oh, you're trying to be hard. No, it's not. Why don't you try to be soft rather than try to be hard and try to use some other person or some other way of thinking to try to manipulate anybody else's decision? Let's see if you can do something on your own without trying to do that. Probably not. It's all you learned. I have no apologies for that, no sentiment, because it's what you learned. So obviously you can't turn around and not let the tides roll in like it has. I could step over the tide and get right back to my decision making and decide for myself. But if you can't, it's not my fault. That has to do with something that you don't want to decide. You know? I grew up with listening to Black Flag and everything, so I know the intention craft of what people decide and not deciding. You know, how not making that decision destroys everybody else's evidence of you. It doesn't to me. But if it does to you, then bye, you know. Clearly you don't understand human life, because you're not making a decision just as much as I'm not. So you're going to get upset with me for that. Or you're going to say something to me and try to intimidate me because I can make a decision just like you. Oh, that's horrible. Marcello, I expected better from you. Well, what's your definition of better? You know? Because my definition of better is not that I'm going to judge you based on you not making a decision. But right now, when you decided to make that judgment call and say, I expected better from you. Oh, man, you expected things from me? I mean, when did that happen? When did that start? And that's the whole thing of how to take away judgment of emotions, feelings, and sensitivities, you know. That's why, you know, controlling the philosophy, you know. And, you know, you take away judgments of those things. Like, to me, personally, I could care less if people don't like that I have emotions, feelings, and sensitivities. You know, the whole point is, if you don't like that I have them directly at you, even as a friendship, I mean, it's kind of like a dull friendship. I mean, why wouldn't you want to have that in a friendship? Just saying. because you don't have that in a relationship, well, that shouldn't matter. Because if you like the friendship we have, then already you're deciding to say, well, I want something more from our relationship. Well, then you got to decide for your relationship, and you have to keep on looking around. You can't base it off of what you have and what you're seeing around you, because that's like saying when you see a couple holding hands, oh, I hate that feeling. I don't. You know, even when I had feelings in my stomach, like deep in my stomach, in the pit of my stomach, when I saw a couple or something, you know, it wasn't like, oh God, I hate relationships. No, it was a feeling deep inside, and was like, hey, what the hell, you know? And it wasn't like a bad feeling, and it's something that hasn't changed really. You know, whether it's called being gullible about it or not, it's a true fact. I didn't try to say something more about it or try to develop an anguish for it. Nah, that's a waste of time. And being stuck like glue is about that too. Which is what this is about. You're stuck like glue. Love and its many different acceptances and closeness and laughter and impressions and willpowers. Because all these things are led from in this same atmosphere of thought. That, you know, you're supposed to love. Love is acceptance in so many ways to a lot of people. That's why there is all these you know, broken down relationships or jealousy in relationships. Oh, well, my husband doesn't like it when I come out and talk to you, or something like that. You already are showing that you have difficulty in something, but your acceptance of it is your love for that person. That's all it is. And it doesn't make it bad. It's just that you didn't see that from the beginning. You know, I mean, what you consider jealousy is not really love. It's just the wall. It's just the security blanket that you want. You know, I mean, literally, you don't need to have a relationship for that. You just need to have company. You know, 1 is for liberty, 2 is for company, 3 is an orgy, and 4 is forever. And in this atmosphere of what we create, oh, I know better than you. And you shouldn't be thinking that way about me. It doesn't necessarily mean, and that's why a lot of people can keep going with that, because they've done the intimidation so long. Oh, this is normal. This is normal routine. And it's the idea of like, oh, men are like this, or women are like this. Oh, we can work together because of women. Oh, we can work together because we're men. Oh, you know, this, oh, well, I know this kind of man. I could deal with this guy for a while. But see, that's the whole point. If all you want in a relationship is to just deal with it, wow. I mean, I'm not saying anything bad about that. I'm just saying, if that's your only motive now, based on the whole experience of what you experienced with that person before, and all of a sudden it's just, I'm going to deal with it, you have to transcribe life, and you have to decide more than that in life. You know, if all you're going to think of is the range of what you deal with, you might as well just pay your bills and be on your own. Because if your acceptance and laughter and having fun and going out and, you know, raiding the kids line or whatever, and being a kid, if that's all it is just saying, I gotta make this phone call. I mean, that's how it sounds. It sounds like you're just making a phone call, a very important phone call, and you keep on repeating that same process of walking right to the phone and just picking it up on a home line or something, you know, just picking up that phone and calling that number. It's just like it's a repeat of that. I can see that in my head right now. And it's sad because it's like that total pink cloud denial. Like, you don't want that pink cloud. No thanks. You don't want to live inside the atmosphere of yourself. You just want to see the reasoning of somebody else and say, I got to deal with that. And that's all. And that's what being stuck like glue is, you know, being stuck like glue to somebody. Well, they're stuck like glue to me. See, they're jealous. You know, they have jealousy, so they're really stuck like glue to me. So it's love to me. Well, that's fine then. Good. Congratulations. That's the kind of thought you want in the relationship. So you want to be smack dab in the middle of something, you are. So don't start telling me, or don't start telling anybody else how you're going to get them to feel too. Because if you decide that fate, you've decided it. Rock bottom solid. You haven't created anything else. You've actually told everybody this is how you should think too. You should always look for the kind of love you want. Don't tell anybody else what kind of love they should want. I never have. And that's the closeness. That's the laughter that I have. That's what I like. I'm sorry, you know, as a friend, you have to do it. And no impressions, nobody else. This is my willpower, to be myself. You know, other people's willpower is to be that jealous person their entire relationship. Other person's willpower is this, that, the other. My one is just me. I have the willpower to be myself this long throughout any intimidation, anything you throw at me. But if what you're going to throw at me is something that somebody else has thrown at you, then bye. You know, that's worthless. You know, I throw love. If somebody else throws a bullet at me, I throw love. If somebody else throws blood on me, I throw love. You know, and if somebody else throws hate at me, I throw anger, but my anger is purely direct. It's a psychological weapon. And once you see it, you negate any experience you're going to have with me. You negate anything you're going to have with me. You won't have an experience with me forever. Because you've now shown that you can accept the kind of person I am. Because, why? I want to see you go down this line, Marcello. As my grandma would say. In my own psychology, that's what I can see from her. She just wants you to walk down the line that she likes. No thanks. I'm not you. I don't like the same things you do, Mamina. I know you love plants, I know you love animals. Well, you have that. Be satisfied with that. Don't expect more. Don't expect somebody who cooks to be the person that I love. This is your drawing line. My line in the sand has been gone a long time. My limit is higher than the sky. You can say that the pink cloud is a medicine of my flight in outer space and inner space. It's not a popularity contest. The beliefs and views cannot be subtracted from one or the other because of the source or who you believe. Everyone was inflamed by somebody. And that's what this comes down to. Everything. Your passions, everything you want in life. You were inflamed by somebody. You were inflamed. So you can't be upset with somebody that wasn't inflamed by you. Because that's the whole point of this. Love is not something that you would learn. Love is something that you maintain inside yourself. If you're going to hide it, and you are inflamed by something else, if something else is your passion, then you have to go for that. You have to find somebody who's inflamed by the same thing. That's what I want. I don't want somebody who's not inflamed by me. Well, Marcello, I like this actor. Oh, wow, that's wonderful. I'm just kidding. But it's not about jealousy streak there. It's about, well, you know, I can see that you have your passions built in this character, which I do too in many characters of my movies, of my TV shows on DVD. Creative. Lovely. But I wouldn't poke an eye out for them. I'd poke an eye out for you. I poke an eye out for you. I want you that damn much. I'm sorry. But it isn't something to be sorry about, because this is something my passion is filled up with. It's not a popularity contest to me. I have stuff that's the most popular stuff in the world, and I have stuff that is grounded to the ground and not seen between the sheets. Nobody needs to see it. Just as long as I'm inflamed by somebody. And they're inflamed by me. It doesn't need any direction. If your direction is built on what you think about your maintenance in life. I'm not talking about how you keep yourself, you know, up and, you know, to put makeup on and stuff like that, which I don't think anybody needs. Your intention, if it's based on you keeping your inflamed process inside and not telling somebody, this is what I'm inflamed by, this is my passion, then already you're showing the gone streak, you know. Well, you have to show your interest in this. But I'm showing my interest in it by, 1, lessening, by 2, not directing my thought anywhere else, even towards my own thing. 3, not deciding to blow you off. 4, not intruding on what you like. But the thing is, if what you're inflamed by is something that you keep on talking about that you don't like if your parents are abusive towards you, or if you like arguments and you don't say it. I mean, nobody can take that away from you. Nobody can take away what you're inflamed by because you've experienced it so long or because you wanted it that way. If you hide that, it's kind of like a lost track. You don't really have anywhere else to go with that. You can't not be inflamed by it. If it's not there, you're going to create it. And that's why I always tell people, this is what my passion is. I'm sorry, you know. I'm not going to go with anything but my passion. And I'm sorry about that, you know, which means you have to deal with my passion. Whether you like it or not, I mean, it's not even about, like, me talking about it consistently. I could talk about anything. But if what your passion is built on is just a trace of what you already were, then you can't really change that. You can't tell somebody that it's different now, that I got rid of these people, that I did this or that the other. You got to make that decision right away. You can't make that decision 5 years later. And in this, there's the dissection is not my answer, and will not be, because of popularity and what's in the majority's heart. It's what is in my heart that matters. No ego. You can't have an ego if you have full self-esteem. No one ever told me, "Oh, Marcel, you got a self-esteem problem." Nope, I don't. And that's why I'm not involved right now. Because so many people in general have so many self-esteem issues. You know? And sometimes I've even heard this from girls. "Oh, you know, a lot of people like you. You'll find the right girl." Because they don't want to be the right girl for me. Because their self-esteem is low. They have a low self-opinion of themselves. They have a low self-esteem. If you're built up on a concrete fence, you can't really change that concrete fence to wood. You can't make that wood into the tree that's been built and create the passion in the fruits that are born in it, in the leaves that grow out of it. But that's the whole point of life. If you don't want to grow something, if you want to just be a concrete slab, then what else do you want in life? Who else do you want to participate with? You know, I may not be the most driven person to go create new things in the world. But there are a lot of things that can be created, not just going to a club, not just listening to music, not just going out and creating an atmosphere around people, creating an atmosphere for people. I don't dissect in life. If people were to tell me aliens are going to come down, I'm not going to just judge them and say, "Let's kill them, let's dissect them." I may be in the minority, but I'm not going to change that to make you happy. It's all my heart, and I'll not be the popularity. The majority's in my heart. But I'm not doing this for the majority. The majority's in my heart, which means my heart is the majority of me. And it's going to be. It's always going to be. And it's what's in my heart that matters. No ego. And a lot of people say it is, because you're not listening to everybody else, you're not trying to work as a collective. No. You're not trying to treat me as an individual. You want me to work with you on your terms, not on our terms. Which means I can't do that. And if it's my ego that you see as a presence, then it's better off that we're not friends. It's better off that you're not here. Because I don't want to be treated as if I can't be myself. That I have to work with you based on what your logic is. My logic doesn't present itself as I have to be you. You have to be me. My logic is you be yourself. If you want to hang out with me, you come because you want to. Because you come for yourself. You don't come because of what you think about me. You come because you want to be here. You want to be here. You want to experience this. Not because you want to tell me what you think about me. I can tell you what I think about what you feel, what you say, but I can't tell you how to treat yourself, no matter. What you want good in life is what you want. I'm evil, I'm bad, I'm good, I'm great. But I'm nothing. Until you want me to be. Until you want to be yourself around me. So this isn't a dissection. This is the literal lesson of life. There's no dissection left. It's my heart that's going to come out, the majority of my heart. And I want that to be with somebody, but it's not going to be based on what you entreat in my life. It's the dissection, the popularity. And in my heart, there's no ego. You can't have ego. Like I said, if you're full of self-esteem, no low self-opinion of myself. I'm sorry if you do, but I've never had a low self-opinion of you either. This is the dissection, the material. The great grace, the competitive nature that is not going to happen. No killing competition. Create competition. Create competition. Don't kill it. The nature of thought. Whether you're stuck like glue or not, what you think about it is a lot more important than what you tell people about it. Love.